Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. Karen sends a disabled man to the ER. Most of you know me, but for those that don't, here is a brief backstory. I'm a 33 female and I double a registered nurse for a local clinic during the day and ER overnight. I am married with 3 children. On with the post. It was an ordinary day at the clinic. There wasn't much going on since Kevin, just dealing with the usual patient woes. Cough, sneezing, or minor bodily injury. When a young man, let's call him Todd, enters with his service dog, a beautiful border collie. Naturally, the dog brings out all the ladies in the office, myself included. My administrative assistant, nicknamed Nicole, does her regular scripted greeting towards the patient and asks the young man what brings him in. He came in because he wasn't feeling well. The assistant gets him started with the paperwork while myself and the medical assistant and Red Tech are going towards his sweet fur baby. While the patient is filling out the paperwork, this small conversation took place. "Hi sir, how are you today? What brings you in?" "Well, you see, I haven't been feeling well. I'm having difficulty breathing in and out of my nose and congested in my chest." "I'm so sorry to hear that. Can I ask why do you have a service dog?" "We are legally allowed to ask this question due to ADA guidelines." "Oh, I was born with Usher syndrome." What is Usher syndrome?" Usher syndrome is where over time you progressively lose your ability to see or hear. In my case, it started when I left my mom. Yeah, and because of my condition, I have also developed an anxiety condition that Abby was trained to sense and cue me down. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Please do not hesitate to call or ask us for help filling out any of the paperwork, okay?" "Oh, thank you. But that won't be necessary. I can see a little, but some things are blurry. But thanks for asking." "Sure, sir. If you need any assistance, let us know. By the way, your doggo is really sweet. What breed is she?" "Oh, Abby? She's a 3-year-old border and she's been my best friend for years. I don't know what I would do without her, to be honest. I've raised her since she was a pup." "Oh, how sweet. I'll be seeing you and Miss Abby. I ruffle the pup's collar in just a minute. Let me or Nicole know if you need anything." We part ways briefly to go to the room ready for Todd and Abby. That's when we hear the door chime, indicating that another visitor has entered the facility. Per Nicole, she introduced our Karen. This Karen looks like a version of Christy Alley. Hands her the necessary paperwork, and Karen goes to sit down only a few seats down from Todd. Todd gets up to hand Nicole the paperwork he's filled out. Abby perks up and helps Todd across the room. Karen apparently did not like this and keeps grunting and throwing nasty looks in Todd and Abby's direction. Todd and Abby take their seats and are waiting on myself and my assistant to bring them to the back. Karen gets up and approaches Nicole. "Here you go." She hands back the clipboard with the paperwork. Nicole tells her, Ma'am, I'm so sorry, but I noticed you haven't completed your paperwork. Is there something I could help you with?" "No, I don't feel comfortable here." "I'm sorry to hear that. Can I ask how I can make you feel more welcome?" "Why, yes. You can start by removing that filthy flea bag." Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there is something I cannot do."
Why not? It is unsanitary to have a filthy animal in a sterile field. That dog doesn't belong in here."
Perfect timing. Poor Abby perks her ears up as she's hearing an ambulance pass by the clinic with its horn blaring, bringing to howl.
"Oh, shut up, you filthy flea bag."
She screeches at the dog.
Shut that stupid mutt up.
Todd says, I'm so sorry. Shush, Abby. He pulls on her lead and tries to get Abby to settle down. She doesn't often do this.
Nonsense. That mangy pot probably isn't a real service dog. Anyway, probably just bought the vest off eBay or something. Lying jerkhead.
Ma'am, I'm so sorry, but you cannot be approaching our other patients or the dog. The dog is a service dog for this patient. Please lower your voice. It may disturb the other patients in the office. Then Nicole tries to redirect Karen. Would you like my help filling out your paperwork so you can be seen by the provider?
No, I want this mutt removed and to speak to your provider.
Nicole tells her, sure, ma'am. Nicole places a brief call to the pack nurse station and requests that I come to the front and gives a brief indication that there is an urgent matter happening out front. So I get up and go to the front where I greet and meet our Karen. Hi, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Not so good, honey. You see, I came in here because I'm experiencing a lady problem, and this beast here keeps making inappropriate noises and stinks. I've asked your receptionist here to do her job and get that beast out of here, and she refuses to kick that kid and his mutt out. It is just not okay.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry to hear that. What noises are you hearing that you find inappropriate?
It's howling, panting, and it's just so nasty and unsanitary.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but per the ADA, we cannot discriminate against the disabled or prevent them from using the service animal.
What? He's abusing that animal. How can you people be so cruel and disgusting? You'll burn in hell, you piece of trash.
She wags her finger at Todd. I tell her, ma'am, that is enough. You're gonna have to calm down or I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. There is no need for that name calling or for this issue to escalate. The dog is a service dog and is here to assist his owner in daily tasks. Now, if you would like to still be seen by myself or my provider, I can go and take you to the back and have you wait in an exam room.
Really? I want to see that mutt's papers.
She approaches Todd with her hand out, demanding for his registration papers. I say, ma'am. I get between her and Todd to prevent Karen from getting too close to Todd. That is unnecessary. And you're not allowed to ask anyone for proof of identification or medical necessity. I think it's best if you find another physician's group to care for you, as we won't be able to help you today.
How dare you? Why can't you see me? And why do I have to leave? That monster and his filthy mutt should leave. I demand you kick them out right now.
Ma'am, I have asked you to stop yelling. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I will not be able to treat you today, as you're acting very inappropriate and causing a commotion here. Could you please leave?
Oh, shut up. I can do and say whatever the hell I want to, and I will not leave until I'm seen and that monster with his mutt are thrown out.
While my back and attention was focused on Karen, Abby had gotten up and was alerting to her owner's distress cues from Todd. All of Karen's screaming had begun to make Todd panic. That's when Todd stood up, grabbed Abby's lead and just collapsed on the floor after lightly hitting one of the other chairs in a waiting room. I quickly turned around, rushed to Todd and ordered Nicole to get my medical assistant and the other registered nurses.
Oh, stop faking it, you stupid idiot.
She scoffs and approaches Ted. She kicks his boot, trying to make him move. Nicole returns with my medical assistant and a registered nurse. While all three of us attend to Todd, Nicole asks for Karen to step back a bit.
Why the hell do I have to step back? He's faking it. Get that damn mutt out of here. I told you this was no place for him.
I snap at her.
Shut the hell up, damn it.
Not my finest hour, but I was panicked and irritated at this woman's audacity. The whole room goes quiet. This will be one of the very rare occasions that I have ever gotten this angry. I call over my shoulder for Nicole to phone for the authorities and an ambulance. I proceed to position Todd on his back with the help of the registered nurse. I check his airways and use my hands to feel the back of his neck and head to make sure there is no bleeding or swelling. I also use my stethoscope to check his heart and lungs. I then proceed to try and wake Todd up, and he is not responding. I take out my ophthalmoscope from my scrub jacket's pocket and try to look into Todd's eyes. I check his pulse and ask my registered nurse to get his blood pressure and pulse oximeter using her wrist cuff. I speak over my shoulder to my medical assistant to start an IV line. I don't think it's life-threatening, but I don't want to risk it with how quickly Todd went down. Besides, he did say he was having issues breathing, and I know we don't have that type of equipment within the office if he begins to code. The longest 20 minutes of my life, and an IV drip started. Todd is on the gurney bed of an ambulance and is being loaded into the back of it. I turned to the local authorities that followed the ambulance and asked them to remove Karen from the premises.
But you haven't even asked about how I was doing.
Ma'am, you'll be lucky that I don't personally press charges against you for assaulting myself, my staff, and that patient. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, pish bosh. I did nothing wrong. You should be arrested for allowing that beast in here.
Then an officer tells her, "Enough is enough. Karen, please follow me."
But officer?
Then the officer dragged her out of the office. The officer did press for a trespassing ordinance against Karen and escorted her out of the building. We haven't seen or heard from her since. As for Todd, and thanks to one of the daytime employees at the local ER, Todd is doing much better and needed to be observed overnight due to his head trauma and cardiac arrhythmia. Just for precautions, he made a full recovery. When his relatives arrived at the hospital, the parents pressed assault charges against the Karen, and I have been in communication with their attorney. Next story. You won't stop the bus to drop us off? Enjoy your unscheduled stop right where we needed to be. Back in 2001, I was in my final year of high school. Going to a Catholic school 20 kilometers away from the tiny country town I lived in. A Catholic school that was proud of its image, but full of kids who had little to do on the weekends except work, drink, do drugs and party. So it was ties, blazers, jackets, hats, button-down shirts that needed to be tucked in and done all the way up on kids that had little chance of a good life if they didn't get out of that town. And the school could and would get you in trouble if you were caught wearing your uniform wrong while off school property. We had a community involvement project in my hometown, planting trees not far from my place. Right at the end of the day, seemed a bit stupid to take a bus back to school, go through homeroom, pack up our stuff, and catch a bus back to where we already were. So the girls from my hometown asked if we could just go home from the project after it was done, and teachers conferred and agreed. Sure, we just needed a sign note from our parents. On the day, we climb aboard the bus, show our notes to the head teacher, and get told we cannot get dropped off in our town or on the edge of town, despite the fact that they are not going out of their way. No stopping the bus. Okay, can we walk home from the project? Sure. After our civic duty is done, we check in with the teachers and head off. My place is the closest, 600 meters away. We got to my place, the bus still hasn't moved. We hid inside and each grab a cold can of Coke. Bus still hasn't moved. Some girls got bored and went home. By the time the bus started moving, we had made friends with the construction guys doing road works mere meters from the front door. By the time the bus got to my place, we were in control of the stop/slow lollipop sign. That bus stayed there for about 5 minutes, right where they could have stopped to let us off. Longer than it would have taken for that to happen though, with the remaining girls taking turns holding the stop sign, shirt untucked, ties off, top button undone, jumpers tied around their waists. I was barefoot. The head teacher was sitting in the front seat opposite the driver. We waved, we laughed, and we sipped our cold cokes on that hot day. The teacher was red in the face. He looked infinitely pissed. But looking back, I think he was just trying not to laugh. Next story. Smoker's Delight. Back in the day, about 20 years ago, myself and my group of friends, co-workers, all smoked. Tobacco among other things. We were in a blue-collar industry and were all hard drinking and partying young men and women. It was a great era. One of my closest friends, Steve, moved from the Midwest where we all lived back to his childhood hometown on the East Coast. The reasons for this move were financial and not relevant to the story. I flew out to visit a couple of times and we went sightseeing and generally had a good time. Anyone who's ever been part of a smoking social group knows it's not uncommon to bum cigarettes from one another. I give you one today and you return the favor tomorrow. No big deal. They are worth about 25 cents a piece, but common courtesy dictates that you ask politely rather than just helping yourself to someone else's back. As Steve felt we were close enough friends to forgo this formality, at his discretion. One night we're out of his front deck after dinner having beers and chatting. It's me, Steve, his wife, and a couple other friends. He had been helping himself to my pack in my shirt breast pocket all week during my visit. But the last time we stopped at a store for provisions, I felt a little bitty about this. So instead of picking up a standard pack as I usually do, I got a pack of menthols. I don't mind menthols every once in a great while, but Steve hates them. For those that do not smoke, having a menthol as opposed to a standard cigarette is akin to biting into a mint chocolate bar instead of a regular milk chocolate. The taste can be surprising if you're not expecting it. So that night I make sure to have the menthol pack in the same shirt pocket easily accessible. Sure enough, Steve reaches for the pack. He pulls out a smoke and pops it into his lips. He's distracted by the conversation at hand and doesn't notice the faint scent of the unlit cigarette. I politely pass him my lighter with a grin on my face and wait for it. He looks at me with suspicious confusion, lights the tip, takes a big drag, then starts coughing. A few expletives later, I take my unfinished smoke back from him and begin to puff with evil satisfaction. It is not often that I was able to rattle him, but this one made all of us laugh. Seeing his wife snicker was the best part of the evening. He kept his hands to himself after that. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.